folks, welcome back to 40 Years of Great Games, where I take a look at games from the past 40 years and tell you the best games from each of those. Now, I started when I was born in 1976, and games have obviously gotten better and better as time has gone by. Some people will debate that, but I just don't see how that's possible. You can say otherwise. Now, we've had ups and downs over the time, and today I'm going through 1980 and 1990, and this is a pretty strong down. In fact, I think this is the strongest down that we will see. Games only got better after this, with a small dip in 1996. But really, this was the last year. It's like, when were we going to come out with good games? Well, they mostly started in 1991. But there were still some good games that came out this year, so here we go. Number 10 is a very popular game. For a while, I haven't seen it played recently. The most recent version of it from Uberplay was called Hoity Toity. But the original version in German was Adele Verpflichtet. I can't pronounce it correctly. But it's a game about collecting junk, and you're getting it and stealing it and whatever, and trying to show off the biggest collection of junk. I think it's a pretty cool little game. It uses rock, paper, scissors mechanisms. I just don't think it's aged very well, and thusly you don't see them in play for a while, but I know that in Germany it was extremely popular as a family game for a while. Number 9 is Gold Digger. This is from Rainer Knizia, and we're going to see more and more of his games show up on these lists as the years go by, and this is where he started coming out strong, and you'll see over the next decade, Knizia kind of rules the roost. Gold Digger, though, is a very small, simple little game where you essentially are playing, there's different cards out there, and you're playing Gold Digger cities, and you're also adding gold to the different mines. Out of the Box made a nice version of this years later. Number 8 is Journeys of Paul. When people ask me, are there good Christian games? Normally not really. Journeys of Paul was a decently good one. In this one, you're following the journeys of Paul, and you are going around and starting churches and trying to have deacons in different churches and stuff around the board. Kind of a race game from Cactus. Number 7 is Such a Thing. This is kind of a thing where you would turn over a card. It might say fat. Can you think of something fat? Well, yeah, easy. Then you turn over another card, green. Can you think of something that's fat and green? Okay. Okay, now we turn up something ugly, fat, and green. We keep going until a card turns over. There's no such thing. That matches all those. And you're kind of going, who can push that limit to figure out, oh yeah, I can name something that starts with all these. And I'm like, no, you can't. You're lying. Number 6 is A la Carte. This is a game that's still in my collection, actually. This one, my kids like it. It essentially comes with little pots and pans, and you have little goods that you're frying where you have to flip them, and you have these little shakers of spices, and you're trying to shake out spices and not get the nasty stuff into your stews. It's a little bit of dexterity, a little bit of set collection, and a lot of fun. A cool, really strong theme. Works well for kids, but I think there's maybe a little bit more to it than that. That's A la Carte. Number 5 is one of the meanest games I've ever played. That's True Colors. True Colors is a game in which each round you vote. So I'll say, who here is the best person to take on a camping trip? And you all secretly put votes in. And then each person says, I think I got the most votes, I think I got the least votes, or no votes, or I think I got some of the votes. And if you're right, you get points. But when you open it up, you're like, everyone voted for me to be the least fun at a party? And if you think you can handle that, you have to get the right group for this one, but it is fun. True Colors. Number 4, Where's Bob's Hat? And no, it's not on my list because it's about hats. Okay, it's a little bit on my list because it's about hats. But Where's Bob's Hat is a trick-taking game where you are saying, I'm going to get the most of a certain color of these hats, and the cards go from 1 to 20. I believe there's 3 colors. There's Trump. It's a solid trick-taking game. And yes, it's number 4 on my list because, like I said, just not that many great games came out in these 2 years. Number 3, Gang of 4. Now, until Tichu has kind of been the ladder climbing game of choice, I still have a soft spot for Gang of 4. Gang of 4 is just a ladder climbing game where you're essentially trying to get rid of all the cards in your hand. It's called Gang of 4 because you can play 4 of the same card, but there's some other special cards in it, and you're playing cards singly, pairs, and things. It's a very clean system. It's one of the first games that Days of Wonder, they actually reprinted it several years later, but they did a very nice job of it and brought it more into the public eye. Now let's get to some great games. Number 2, Hero Quest. Man, as a kid, just seeing the cover of Hero Quest and all these warriors fighting, you're like, what is this? For many of us kids, not everyone played Dungeons & Dragons when it first came out. For many kids in the 80s, Hero Quest was the thing that brought Dungeons & Dragons to the limelight, because Dungeons & Dragons was kind of being played in back corners and things. It wasn't like right out there in the front. Hero Quest, though, was something that everyone could play. It was in every toy store everywhere. And you put out a board and one person was a dungeon master and everyone else went through and fought and killed stuff. It's the precursor. Every time we talk about a new dungeon crawl, we're almost always going back and talking about Hero Quest and just, man, how that game started everything. It's very simple. Does not nearly have the complexity of games today, but I still love it dearly. It came with plastic furniture and plastic creatures. Great memories. And number one game for 1989 to 1990 is Ave Caesar, a racing chariot game that I still play to this day, where you're racing around the track, playing different cards, shouting Ave Caesar at some point as you go through the 3 laps of the race. It is great fun. If you want to know how it's played, on many of the live plays with Dice Tower, this one almost always shows up. It's an entertaining, cool game with cool horses. It's been reprinted several times, though. It's been out of print for a decade now. I'm sure someone will bring it back in print. If you get a chance to play it, super fun. Chariot racing game. Your own deck of cards. You play them, and cutthroat, mean, nasty, get in each other's way. Lots of fun. Whew, we made it through those years. Yay. Next time, we'll get to 1991 to 1992. There's some great games that come out then. You'll see.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.